The Imagination Library is a book scheme in Rotherham for children under 5. They receive an age-appropriate book through the post once a month.
I couldn't believe it when I first had Lucy and I was told, you know, that basically you could just literally fill in a form and get a free book every month.
You get one every month. It comes to your house. The kids love opening it.
As she gets older, then they've been getting older with her, basically.
And they're all beautiful books. They're all well-chosen books.
And she's building up a little library of books on a shelf that we otherwise wouldn't have bought for her.
Edward enjoys receiving his new book every month when it comes, so he knows that's something for him. He gets excited, he wants to open it, he wants to read it.
Yeah, I mean, when you go to shops, the books are quite expensive, so it kind of puts parents off, especially parents that are, you know, not getting a lot of income.
And I think because Imagination Library is for every family, regardless of income, I think that's really good as well, because it's like treating all the children equally. So I think it's accessible for everyone, so it's really good in that sense.
So I think by getting these free books, they're there at home. Obviously the child's going to pick up, you know, give it to mum. It gives you such a good way, you know, to communicate with your child and, you know, to sit with them and read.
And also it might be books that we wouldn't necessarily have chosen, so she gets to read different things that perhaps I wouldn't have bought or borrowed.
Start them as young as you can, and even if you think they don't understand, they are, because they sit there and they're all listening, they're all looking at pictures. Don't be saying good boy.
Because there's only so much that you can tell them during the day, and books come with brand new ideas and brand new stuff that you might not ordinarily have mentioned during the day.
So I think it brings up areas you can have discussions with them, even at a young age, about everyone's different, but we're all the same as well. And I think it's introducing it from an early age.
If you introduce it to them while they're still young, then it'll become the norm when they're older. At this age, it's more of listening to his mum's voice or his dad's voice and becoming secure.
And now, as he's getting older, we do more exciting things and read books that have got a little bit more action in them. Children copy what they see. So when he sees me and his dad reading through a book and flicking through the pages, he'll do exactly the same.
What's that cat doing? Yeah, meowing, yeah.
Yeah, that's Mum. Is that Mum? There's a little bird looking.
What's that? It's a dog. What does dog do?
It's an hiding kitten.
Summer, do I
I think it's going to foster a healthy relationship with books, like as they grow older, and obviously learning to read independently as well.
It gives them like confidence in books, and they can tell a story, even if they can't read, they're at this age. Just looking at the pictures, they can make a story up themselves and they'll know what the books are about. And she'll sit with another child and read a book to them. Even if she doesn't know what the words are, she'll look at the pictures and tell this other child who's sat next to her, this is what's happening in the book. So it gives them that confidence to mingle in with other children as well.
Yeah, because it fetches them on in every way with the talking and counting. She's definitely come on in and reading and enjoying looking at her books.
Because she's the only child and she tends to play on her own quite a lot. So when she reads, that gives her lots of imagination. She can then make up stories, pretend games and things like that.
I think it's stirring his imagination. I mean, he had a book with a lion in, and then very quickly he got down off my knee and went and found another book with a picture of a lion in. And then for his first birthday he went to the zoo, and so he just loved the lions. He wouldn't go away from the lions because he'd seen more lions in the books that he'd got. And so it's helping him to recognise different things.
They have made a lot for my life and my kids, because when I came into this country I couldn't get books if I don't go to library to borrow some books for the kids.
It creates a better relationship between me and Nia, because sometimes obviously you're hassled doing the housework and doing all these other stuff, but then you've got private time just for the two of you to bond over the book and enjoy the stories.
You read to a part where you ask her questions like, oh, did you do that at school, or things like that. So then that's when you get out of what she's been doing at school and things like that.
Also, you're getting that communication with them, you're getting that one-to-one, and they're talking back, giving you their feedback.
There's nothing better for a child than one-to-one contact. Yeah. It's a very special time for both the child and the parent.
Do you look a little bit like any of these children? That looks like me when I was young. Apart from different hair.
So you're not
there. Glasses.
It broadens the vocabulary as well as the imagination, because like we got this story, The Magic Porridge Pot, and she hadn't grasped the concept of somebody being upset or somebody being happy. So when we learned that, oh, she's upset because she was hungry in the magic porridge pot, she now knows what kind of facial expression people who are upset have on their face. It's a book that you can relate to in other activities, because when you're cooking and she goes, "Mommy, are you cooking porridge? Is the pot going to boil over as it does in the magic porridge pot?" Then you know that's why she likes it so much, I suppose.
I think if she's learning something from the books, I think that's what we like the most. I mean, there's something in that she can relate to.
Layla did talk when she was quite young, and I do put a lot of that down to reading, because I noticed that some of the words that she was saying early on were words out of books she'd read.
I appreciate people do have busy lives these days, but I mean 5 minutes, it can only be 5 or 10 minutes, and I think everyone's got 5 or 10 minutes in a day just to sit with little and with a book for 2 minutes.
I think it's so easy these days to sit a child in front of a games console or something, you know. They don't use their imagination, and that book, the child brings that book to life. The book doesn't have to do anything, it's all up here in the child's head, and they bring that book to life.
Reading just comes naturally. If your child pick a book and say, "Oh, Mum, what's this?" by you know, telling them what it is and just say what it says the writing, that's called reading.
Yeah, like obviously there's a standard before bed, before naps, obviously.
We read in bed a lot, so that's quite fun, because we've got a little torch and we read in bed.
She loves her bedtime stories, and she's got 3 or 4 books that she reads constantly. We have to read to her every night before she goes to bed, and they all came from the library.
I mean, obviously it's nice if the TV was switched off and it's peace of quiet. I mean, what I do with my kids, I just get a sheet and I cover it, you know, under the table, and he'll sit there and read with them, and he loves that, you know, Nasa, when he does that. So obviously you can always find a way of reading with child. It doesn't mean, you know, bedtime, there you go, read.
Yeah, we read sometimes when we go to the park to play with the kids. Sometimes we had a good time to sit and read.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Yeah! Give yourself a clap now! Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. If you see a crocodile, don't forget to scream.
She likes to sit on a trampoline and read sometimes, don't you?
And we go up to the library as well, so we read a lot at the library too.
And we read sometimes when we go on journeys, in the car, when Daddy's driving. So any opportunity we try to just make stories up as well.
And even 5 minutes, if they've read 1 page to a child, that will help them as well. It will help the parent, if they've got English as second language, that will help them with their reading as well, if they try and read a book to a child.
There's always time where you can read. It doesn't always have to be a book. There's time in the morning. The breakfast cereal boxes, there's usually something on there that, again, you can interact with them. Whether there's a puzzle on there, or just getting them to point out characters on the cereal box that they recognise maybe from a TV advert.
We explore the pictures and we sort of, even if it's not the story, we'll tell a story and we'll sort of look at things and say, well, what do you think that, you know, that's a funny face, you know, what do you think that pussycat's doing that for, or that's a silly mister, isn't it, you know, what's he doing? So we just sort of make, sometimes we don't necessarily read the story that's in the book, we'll just look at the pictures and make up our own story.
You could be playing and then he'll bring a book and we'll sit and we will read books, and we often read the same book 3, 4, 5 times over. As soon as you finish, you start again, because he likes repetition.
We've got sort of finger puppets and hand puppets that we use, different props to go with different stories. And the nursery send home books as well that have always got props and things with them.
I do it like puppets, you know, like puppet voice, or I do it with my arms like a duck, or... So yeah, and he does it, and he really enjoys it, you know, by doing that.
Once we've read a story, if they enjoy it, they'll act it out,
and they'll do their own story for me from the book that they've read.
As soon as she gets a book, she basically becomes that book. She's like, just turns into one of the characters.
After we've read a book, we'd have the magic story, and Alana picks the topic, and we make an imaginary story up, and Alana picks the characters, and we sort of bring stories alive. Her dad's better at that.
I do funny voices with, yeah, and often we make up stories. She loves Angelina Ballerina, so I tend to make stories up about her, about winning competitions and things. And Katie gets excited and gets involved, and as we do it like a few days on trial, she starts saying bits about it as well.
Because there's several characters, then as a mom you've got to have several different character voices, and that makes Nia enjoy the book a bit more. Like if you've got to be a scary creature, or if you've got to put on a funny voice as a, I don't know, a fairy or something like that, yeah, and that makes it more enjoyable.
Yes, my husband's always laughing at me with strange storytelling voices, but I've noticed Layla does the same too when she's reading.
Sometimes we, like if we see an animal like a cat, we say meow, meow. So they go like laughing, like it's funny for them.
It's like the gingerbread man as he was in the oven. He's got that little tiny voice. Open the door, let me out, let me out. Things like that.
So we made gingerbread men and things like that, and let them put their input into it, so they can. So it's not just a book.
A hungry boy joined the chase, calling, "Come back here, little ginger face." The gingerbread man is saying, "Run, run as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man."
We went camping at the weekend, and there was quite a number of children all together, and we did the bear hunt story. And because we were outside, you could sort of bring the story to life, and we used the tent as the cave at the end, and the children really thought that the bear was going to be in there.
And that made us think, well, we could do a treasure hunt. So we started making all these clues and things, and we thought, well, we'll get the kids to go on the treasure hunt and find Spot the dog, basically. And then from then we've just made extra things, haven't we?
The main thing was to involve the children, make it really interactive. So rather than just being sat with the child, reading and looking at the pictures, they were running around, finding clues, and they were involved from start to finish.
If they don't want to finish listening, I end up reading the book sometimes to see what's happened at the end.